Hi, and welcome to Horror Recapped. Today we'll be discussing a 2002 Hong Kong Singaporean horror film titled The Eye. Beware, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. A blind woman walks through the streets as her voice narrates about the bitterness and beauty of the world, and that she is willing to know the world again. She undergoes cornea surgery. There, she meets a girl named Ying Ying with a black lump in her brain. Ying Ying is an 11-year-old child who has had many surgeries at the hospital. The blind lady is called Wong Kar Mun. Dr. Lo is her surgeon. After the surgery, the doctor unwraps the bandage wrapped over her eyes. She opens her eyes, but it hurts a lot even to try to see. She can only make out the silhouette of her granny and sister who are in the room with her. Her eyes are bandaged back up. Later, she lies on a bed in the hospital ward. There are no bandages on her eyes at this time. She calls out to Ying Ying. Ying Ying is excited that Mun can now see. The next day, Mun goes into the washroom with the help of a nurse, where she sees a mirror. This is the first time in 18 years that she is seeing herself in a mirror. The images she sees are still pretty blurry. She stares at a reflection in the mirror, but soon she is disturbed by a sad Ying Ying. Ying Ying is to undergo another operation. Mun consoles her, and they end up taking a picture together. Mun is on her bed at night when she sees the woman next to her in the ward. Leaving with a visitor, Mun goes out of the ward, only to see a woman making strange noises, and hears her say, "I'm freezing." Later, she asks a nurse checking her vitals about the woman next to her bed. The nurse explains that the woman had died, and they did not allow any visitors at night. Mun begins a session with her psychotherapist, Dr. Hua, whose job is to help her re-establish how to use her eyes and understand what she sees. We learn that she lost her sight at the age of 2. Mun's granny shows her a video of herself. The video had been taken by Mun's father when she was little. This was before his divorce from her mom, and he had done this hoping that she would one day see it. Her grandmother goes to do the dishes and leaves Mun to the video. Mun walks to the door and opens it, only to see a boy asking for his report sheet. He claims it fell to her balcony. She calls Granny's attention to this, but Granny waves it off, saying that the boy was only pranking her. She turns back to the door, but doesn't see the little boy again. She walks down the hallway and hears movement. She sees the boy's head bent low in front of the neighbor's door saying, "I'm hungry," while he eats a candle. The neighbor comes out to see Mun standing in front of his door. Mun, confused, turns to where the boy was, but does not see him there. Mun is a violinist. She attends violin practice with the rest of her team. They celebrate as their teacher, Mr. Ching, announces some good news. The first news is Mun's successful cornea surgery, and the second is that they will be going to a concert. Sadly, Mun is not allowed to participate because it is an organization for the blind, but she is free to practice with them. Mun leaves her house the next day, but sees the boy who had been looking for his report sheet. She stops to ask him about the missing report sheet. Granny hears her talking to someone and looks through the peephole only to see Mun talking to herself. Next, she goes to visit Ying Ying, who just had chemotherapy. Ying Ying is very weak and sick. The family of a boy mourns his death. He took his own life over a report sheet, which he had told his family was lost. The deceased family shows regret, as they wish they had believed him. The family is also advised on how to handle the cause of this tragedy. They have to resolve all that was unsettled before he died, or else his spirit would continue roaming about. That night, Mun has nightmares. When she wakes up, she sees her room change into another room. She also sees things disappear and appear back in her room. She takes calligraphy classes to learn how to write, and there she sees a woman at the end of the room. The woman says, "Why did you take my seed?" Mun turns but doesn't see the woman there anymore. She then sees the woman running towards her, but she quickly disappears. Mun goes to meet Dr. Wah, but Dr. Wah is out for a meeting and will be back by 5 p.m. She decides to visit a cafe. At the cafe, she sees a woman holding a baby with her blue tongue sticking out. The woman appears to be a ghost and moves away from the cafe with Mun attempting to follow her. She is stopped by a waitress who sees the ghost also. The waitress advises her not to follow the ghost because they don't like being noticed by others. She also explains that the ghost holding a boy was the wife of the owner of the cafe and that the boy was his son. The owner has been waiting for their arrival since their disappearance. Frightened, Mun leaves the cafe as a boy in school uniform passes through her. They are both confused, but she is distracted when she sees people gathered at an accident scene. The victim is the same boy who had passed through her. She sees the ghost of the boy standing at the scene. He is taken away by a man in black who appears out of thin air. Mun is in tears and tries to walk away from the scene, but she walks into Dr. Wah's arms. He had been looking for her. He leads her back to his office, where she narrates her experience to him. Mun goes home and is about to enter an elevator when she sees a man with his back to her inside the elevator. The CCTV footage above the elevator shows no one there. Mun takes another lift after making sure that no one was there. As she goes up the lift, the man appears behind her. He has a large hole in his head. The elevator stops on the 14th floor. She attempts to open the door of her house with her key, but the door refuses to open. She realizes that she is on the wrong floor and takes the stairs to the 15th floor. There she meets the ghost boy who had been asking her for his report sheet. She goes home, cries, removes the bulbs in her room and stays indoors playing her violin. Dr. Wah goes to lay a complaint to the head of the hospital, his uncle, about Mun seeing ghosts, but he is against this, as it is against medical ethics. He suspects that Dr. Wah's in love with his patient. During their conversation, Dr. Wah receives a call from Mun's granny about Mun. He leaves his uncle's office, only to stop and admit that Mun is more than a patient to him. He then goes to meet her. After talking to her, he takes her to her violin class where she faints. Mun is on the hospital bed when she sees Ying Ying. Ying Ying is happy to leave the hospital. Sadly, Mun realizes that this is Ying Ying's ghost when she sees the man in black behind her. She is buried, and her loved ones are at the ceremony. Mun and Dr. Wah also attended the burial. There, Mun makes it known that she has gotten accustomed to seeing ghosts. This is because she doesn't have a choice, but also it allows her to see those who care about her. Next, Mun and Dr. Wah are on a train together. Dr. Wah hands her a letter given to him by Ying Ying. It reads, "Don't forget me," with a picture of both of them, Ying Ying and Mun. Mun laughs, saying she kept the wrong picture. Dr. Wah's confused and surprised that Mun doesn't recognize herself. Mun now realizes that she has been seeing another image of herself in the mirror. The reflection she sees in the mirror looks different from the image in the picture. Mun goes home and smashes her mirror, saying, "Who are you?" Dr. Lo gives his nephew Dr. Wah the permission to meet with the family who had donated the cornea for Mun's surgery. Dr. Wah and Mun journey out to meet Dr. Eek at a hospital. Upon their arrival, Mun recalls the place to be exactly like it was in her nightmares. When Dr. Eek arrives, they explain the reason for their visit, but he refuses to help them. He says, "It's a hospital record, and I can't give out such information without proper authorization." The doctor, however, changes his mind when Mun explains her experiences after the cornea transplant. He explains that a woman named Ling was the owner of the cornea that was donated, and that she had died by her own hands. She was a girl detested in her village because she foresaw people's death. She had committed this act on herself after she warned them about a fire that was going to happen, and her warning had been ignored by the villagers. Mun visits Ling's home and sleeps in her bedroom. It looks exactly like the room she had glimmers of earlier. She also realizes that the face she sees when she looks in the mirror is Ling's, not hers. Mun resolves everything that was unsettled around Ling's death. Ling's spirit stops roaming about, so Mun and Dr. Hua head back home to Hong Kong. On their way back home though, Mun sees ghosts moving on the road after an accident occurred. Mun tries to tell people to run for their lives. This is just like when Ling had told the villagers about the fire, but they all ignored her. The fire from the accident explodes, claiming many lives. And if that's not enough, a small ember from the fire enters Mun's eye and causes her to lose her sight. The movie ends with Mun walking to her class with the help of her walking stick. She recognizes Dr. Hua from his perfume, and a huge smile forms on their faces. And that's a wrap for The Eye. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. If you would like to look into other movies with us, be sure to like and click the subscribe button so you don't miss a single video. Thanks for watching.